Have you ever wondered what happens when you combine the rich, indulgent taste of chocolate with the creamy, nutty goodness of peanut butter? Well, today we're diving into that delicious mystery with a recipe for chocolate peanut butter fudge. If you're curious to see how these two flavors come together in a sweet, velvety treat, stick around because you're in for a real treat. Welcome to my kitchen. Hi, I'm Arina. On this channel, I share my favorite recipes and tips to ensure they look as good as they taste, all from my home to yours. You'll find links to all the tools and other recipes mentioned in the description below. Let's get started. First, fill your saucepan halfway with water, cover it with a lid, and bring the water to a simmer over high heat. Once simmering, reduce the heat to medium-low. Carefully position a large glass mixing bowl over the saucepan, ensuring it sits above the simmering water without touching it. Now, let's start adding our ingredients. Pour in 3 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips. Next, add 1/4 cup of room temperature unsalted butter. This will help the fudge come together smoothly. Then add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. This will give the fudge a lovely depth of flavor. Finally, pour in 1 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk. Make sure it's at room temperature so it mixes in easily with the other ingredients. Now comes the fun part. Continuously stir the mixture with a spatula as the ingredients begin to melt together. This is where the magic happens. Keep stirring until the chocolate mixture is completely smooth and silky. It might take a few minutes, so don't rush it. Just enjoy the delicious aroma filling your kitchen. Once the chocolate mixture is smooth and fully melted, carefully remove the bowl from the saucepan. But don't turn off the stove just yet. Keep the water hot, as we'll need it again for the peanut butter layer. Before we start, make sure you've measured out the ingredients for the peanut butter layer. Precision is key. If needed, bring the water back to a gentle simmer. Then, place a clean, large glass mixing bowl over the saucepan. Start by dropping in 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. Next, add 4 tablespoons of creamy peanut butter. Now, stir the mixture continuously until both ingredients have melted completely and are smooth. The peanut butter and butter blend together beautifully, creating a luscious, rich layer for our fudge. I hope you're as excited about this fudge as I am. If you're enjoying the recipe so far, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon so you never miss out on more delicious treats. Thanks for sticking with me. Now, let's get back to making this irresistible fudge. Now, let's prepare our pan. I like to use an 8x8 glass baking dish for this recipe. It's just the right size to give you thick, satisfying pieces of fudge. If you're curious about which pans work best for fudge, be sure to check out my separate video where I dive into all the details. For this step, take a sheet of parchment paper and lay it over the top of your baking dish. I personally prefer using parchment paper sheets over rolls because they're easier to work with and save time. The sheets are pre-cut and lay flat, which means no curling edges or fighting with the roll to get the size you need. Measure and cut the parchment paper so that it's about 1.5 to 2 inches wider than the pan on all sides. This extra length will give you handles to easily lift the fudge out once it's set. Next, cut a small slit at each of the 4 corners of the parchment. This little trick allows the paper to fold neatly into the dish, ensuring a snug fit. Properly lining the pan not only makes removal easier, but also keeps the sides of your fudge looking clean and professional. Scoop the chocolate part of the fudge into the lined baking dish. Use a spatula to spread it evenly and smoothly across the bottom. This will be the rich base of our fudge. Next, pour the melted peanut butter mixture on top of the chocolate fudge. Now, for a fun twist, grab a butter knife and gently swirl the peanut butter into the chocolate. As you make the swirls, try not to overmix, so you maintain that beautiful marbled effect. The key here is to be gentle, creating a lovely pattern that not only looks impressive, but also ensures every bite is filled with the perfect balance of chocolate and peanut butter. If you want to get creative, you can even use a toothpick or skewer to make more intricate designs. And here's an extra tip. After swelling, give the dish a light tap on the counter to help the layers settle evenly. This will help create a smooth, polished surface on your fudge once it's set, making it look as good as it tastes. Grab a clean silicone spatula and gently smooth out the top of the fudge, ensuring an even surface. Taking the time to get the top nice and level will give your fudge a professional look once it's set. If you notice any air bubbles, give the dish a few light taps on the counter to help them rise to the surface and disappear. Once the top is perfectly smoothed out, place the fudge in the refrigerator to chill for at least 2 hours. If you can, let it chill overnight. This extra time will make the fudge firmer and much easier to cut into perfect squares. The longer it sets, the cleaner and sharper your cuts will be. So patience really pays off here. Now that your fudge is fully set, it's time to cut it into squares. First, gather all your fudge cutting tools. Create a template on parchment paper with 1.5-inch columns vertically and horizontally to make a grid of even squares. This will help you achieve perfectly even pieces. Prepare a jar of hot water and grab some paper towels, a pastry cutter or knife, and the fudge. Remove the fudge from the pan and parchment paper. Place the fudge on a clean cutting board with the parchment paper template on top. Use the pastry cutter to score the outer edge of the template. Then, use the template to mark out the columns of the grid squares. Cover your hands with disposable gloves to avoid leaving fingerprints on the fudge. To store your chocolate peanut butter fudge, transfer it to an airtight container or wrap it tightly in parchment paper. Label the date on the outside and store it at room temperature for up to 2 to 3 weeks. If you want to freeze uncut fudge, label the date on the outside of a freezer-safe Ziploc bag. Transfer the block of fudge into the bag and seal it while releasing the extra air. Store the fudge in the freezer for 2 to 3 months. Move the frozen fudge to the fridge to thaw for 2 days before cutting and serving. Dip a large knife in hot water, wipe it dry, and begin cutting off the outer template lines along the edges of the fudge. Repeat the process of dipping the knife in hot water and wiping it before each cut. This will ensure smooth, clean cuts. If you're interested in the tools and ingredients I used for this recipe, you'll find everything conveniently linked in the description below. Whether you need the exact measuring cups, silicone spatulas, or the parchment paper sheets I prefer, I've got you covered. Just scroll down and you can easily access all the items to make your fudge making experience smooth and enjoyable. You should now have a perfectly square block of fudge with even, clean edges all the way around, just the way we want it. Before you start cutting, make sure your knife is sharp, as this will help you achieve those precise, professional-looking squares. Begin by cutting the first set of columns going vertically. Dip your knife in hot water and wipe it dry between each cut. This little step prevents the fudge from sticking to the knife, giving you smooth, clean cuts without any dragging or tearing. Once you finish the vertical cuts, turn the fudge and repeat the process for the horizontal columns. Again, remember to heat and wipe the knife between each cut to maintain that perfect edge. Taking your time with this step will ensure you end up with perfectly square pieces of fudge, each one a little masterpiece ready to be shared or savored all by yourself. And there you have it, your very own batch of chocolate peanut butter fudge. This rich, creamy treat is perfect for sharing with friends and family, or just indulging by yourself. If you enjoyed this recipe, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and tap the bell icon for more delicious recipes like this. Thanks for watching, and happy fudge making!